G'day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another free newsletter by me at the Gromy Co. Hope you've had a great week and a great weekend. Okay, so last week was a pretty slow week, to be fair. I took one trade on dot. It was a short. It was a plan that was played out 24 hours prior to the trade occurring. I took the trade. There was a number of trades that were available there, and it at least got to 1-to-1. My week last week was break even. No profit, no loss. That's okay. Had some good weeks before that. Did what I needed to do, and now we start a new week. Now, what did Bitcoin do? It was up 7.34%. Now, most of that week was done in the first day of the week, which was Monday, 4.34%. Now, what I'm seeing with Bitcoin right now on the weekly time frame is that we are in a range. Call it between 100,000 and 111 to make the math simple. The midpoint, of course, being 105,500, which means currently where price is sitting is we're in the higher end of the consolidation that we're currently seeing on the Bitcoin price. As you will have seen in this newsletter, or as you will see down below, the news items that are coming out progressively week on, week out, week in, week out, is companies, major companies having a Bitcoin treasury or Bitcoin strategy, and there being strategic reserves for countries coming more and more to the forefront. Now, this is what is naturally holding Bitcoin's price up at the moment and keeping it well above $100,000, which is really nice, and I appreciate that. The more Bitcoin that gets bought up by these companies, well, the less Bitcoin's available when we see the retail FOMO kick in. And if we do see that, we may see a very strong liquidity squeeze and very fast fluctuation to the upside. Let's hope that that occurs. But hope is not a strategy. So what do we got this week? Well, as I said, the weekly candle is bullish. Let me just get the MACD back properly here. There we go. It's a bullish weekly from last week. It did break the high of last week's candle. However, it did occur pretty much, 10:15. The candle opened for the weekly at at 10. So it happened very, very quickly. So it's not the hugest move just yet, or most positive, but we got a bullish candle from last week in the cradle zone. And as I say, we are not far off of Bitcoin having all-time highs. I think it's only something like 4 or 5%. There you go. 5% would get us to all-time highs. Now, we know Bitcoin can do a 5% move very, very quickly, as was witnessed on Monday last week. So we're sitting in this mid-range. Do I think we're going to see it this week? Not really. I'm not trying not to think too much, but what I am doing is looking at the chart. The chart, we did go straight up more or less. We do not have any uptrend. We do not have any cyclicity. And it makes it much more difficult to read on the daily time frame. What I like is trends like this. Yeah, good cyclicity, higher lows, higher highs. We are definitely not in that at the moment. It's nice to come out of the selling off into a bounce higher, but that trend is what I'm looking for and what I'm waiting for. I'll keep in mind as well, we just had a month close. The month of June closed up 2.41%. And whilst you'll see many people out there saying July is historically a good month for Bitcoin or whatever it is they're saying, I don't care, because just because it had in the past moved higher on sometimes, you can cherry pick as much as you want. Fact of the matter is, it doesn't make a difference. I'm looking for trends and I'm trading trends. And the good news is the monthly trend on Bitcoin is really, really positive. So let's now go from Bitcoin's chart down to Bitcoin dominance, because this is important. Last time we saw a pullback in Bitcoin was 8 weeks ago. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was the beginning of a pullback. During this 2-week period where we pulled back down to this low inside of the cradle zone, we saw alts run really well, and we did very well in the community. Well, we've seen a bearish candle right here. Could we see it pull back further? Well, we may see that, and I'm going to show you a couple of charts available right now as hinting to what I'm waiting for and how I'm planning now and into the week. But we've got divergence. As price made a new higher high on Bitcoin's dominance chart, the MACD did not. But that does not mean that it's going to fall. Not at all. It just means that maybe there's a little bit of lacking momentum starting to creep in on the Bitcoin dominance chart, which could lean towards alts having a move higher. Now, if I show this to you on the daily, you'll see it's just sort of done a bit of chopping around up here. But the weekly, definitely a little bit of a pullback there. And the total market cap last week, again, touching on that, it was up 7.93%, closing just on 3.3 trillion. What I want to see is I want to see the high of this taken out properly and push above 3.5 trillion. Keep it simple. That's what I'm looking for. Now, what about the market? What is going on with the market right now? Well, if I throw up any chart, I'll just pick one at random. On the daily, I want to show you That's not a good example. I want to show you what I'm seeing and what much of the market sees. Now, I did a scan this morning in Discord live for members in there. Many of you, by the way, welcome to all the new members. Please ask your questions in there because we're a very inclusive community and we want you to do well because you help us at the same time. What I showed in the Discord community, how I set my trading plan up for today and into the week is this. A lot of the market looks just like this chart does here. A higher low to a higher high. That is now in an uptrend. So that we went from a downtrend in the control of the sellers, right? Now we've got a higher low and a higher high. It is in an uptrend. Now I want to see the buyers really regain control with injection of some momentum to that upside. Right now, I am not seeing that. I am seeing a sea of red. But if you have a look across the board here, you'll note there are a number of higher lows, like right here. Let me get out of all these meme coin things and jump to something else. A higher low. No higher high. Lots of charts looking like this. I'll jump down further. A higher low, looking for that higher high to get the alts running again. A higher low, looking to see if we can push to a higher high. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these because I already did that this morning live for those in Discord. But what I'm getting at is we're seeing a lot of charts looking like this. So with Bitcoin's dominance chart, top it all, looking a little bit struggling at the top, having a little bit of a pullback last week, could this ignite an altcoin run? Well, first thing we need to do to be prepared for that is to be reading the charts and know what we're looking for. So here is my plan. Now, I always look for momentum. I look for strong trends. I look to work my checklist trading strategies within that trend. Okay, so the first rule is to find really strong trends. And I showed you a number of charts that had a higher low and a slight higher high. They're not the charts that I'm interested in. The charts that I'm interested in have that momentum already there. What I want to see from the rest of the alt market is that momentum to kick in. So I've got a lot more in my watch list, therefore more opportunity for me to trade. So with this chart here, a higher low, strong higher high with very, very good momentum, moving averages in the correct order for my trading strategy. I am now simply sitting here and waiting. I have visually in my mind already set out the perimeters for what I will trade should I get it for this chart and these below. I need to see this pull back into these moving averages. I need to see it give me that small bullish candle and to tick all the boxes on my checklist. So for now, it's going to take some time. This is a 12-hour chart. It might be 2 days. It might be a day. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I am here, I am waiting, and I know exactly what it is that I'm going to do should I get the opportunity. I am only looking to go long, and if my criteria for my checklist is matched perfectly. Next up, Cato. All right, back to the daily. Higher low, higher high. So nice momentum once again. Moving average is not in the correct order, so I'm going to be looking at the 8-hour. Higher low, higher high. It's pulling back into this cradle zone. Again, I know exactly what I want here, and all I need to be is patient and wait and see if I get the trade. This is an 8-hour time frame, so already you're seeing, I've seen a 12-hour and an 8-hour. These are higher time frames. This is swing trading I'm looking at here, not because I am just a swing trader. No, I trade anything, any time frame. It's because these are the trends where my interest has been captured because the trends they're valid and there is momentum. I'm waiting for it to pull back into here and to meet my criteria in a strong trend with momentum. Quant, the next one up is exactly the same. Here we have a higher low, a higher high. I'm looking at the 12 and the 8-hour here. Once again, we are close now. We're back into this zone. I'm waiting to see if we get a small bullish candle here on Quant. And the same can be said on the 8-hour. If that closes like that and the next candle is small and bullish, there's a high probability that if I'm awake, I'll be raising that order. Now, there were some options this morning as well that I did like on the lower time frames, i.e. the trends had some good momentum. As you can see here, a higher low, a higher high. Look at the cyclicity, bouncing ball back into the cradle zone, which is where I trade from, moving away. It pulled back in marvelously well. I was looking to raise an order on this particular candle here. But given the rules that I have in my checklist, well, it's pretty clearly and easily defined that if the trade becomes invalidated, in which case this did, I will just cancel the order. But when I cancel the order, the relevance of this position vanished, and therefore from my watch list, it now can get taken out. There is no trade there, and there is no interest there at all from me at right now. Why? Because what I wanted, what I needed for me to fit my rules does not exist. So therefore, Out the door it goes. The same here on TON, 2 hour. Good cyclicity, as you can see, a higher low, a higher high. I was looking to be a buyer if I got a small bullish candle in here. Amongst other rules, of course, that fit my checklist, of course, it did not occur. It pulled back and has continued to move lower. Therefore, there is no trade, there is nothing to invalidate, there is no trend there anymore that I'm interested in, and it comes out. I'm now left with 3 particular charts, 2 on the 8 hour and 1 on the 12 hour. It means I have got free time until these charts set up to fit my strategy. Now, I came up with this through doing my scan this morning with my Discord community. They watch me live, they ask questions as we go, and we scan 486 pairs in the market to find our opportunities. And it's by having that funnel top-down approach that we can really pinpoint the areas for which we find opportunity. And then, ladies and gentlemen, it really is just a matter of being patient and waiting for the trade to set up. So there's a bit of an insight into what I'm doing this week. Now, it can shift. Don't forget, it can shift. If the market rips to the downside and I get some good downtrends starting to come into play on the lower timeframes, I'm good to short it. My objective being trade where the trends are, trade where momentum is, and trade according to your rules and manage your risk. So I'll leave you with that, guys. That's what I'm looking at this week. Good execution when plans come together. That is the key, and you manage your risk on top. I'd love to see you guys joining. You've been joining up a lot lately, so to the new members, welcome. Again, I will say, please do ask your questions. We want to help. We want to answer your questions. We want to be involved. It's a wonderful community, and people are genuinely there to help each other. So don't feel like it's a stupid question, because there is no such thing as that. We've all been there. We've all asked the questions. Lean on us to help support you to grow faster. Have yourself a ripper week, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. And I'll be in the Discord community tomorrow morning for the scan. See you in there. Bye for now.